If you're currently renovating or you finished a renovation in the last 2 years, this video is going to save you thousands of dollars, depending on whether you watch it. I've consulted on over 300 homes, and the same 10 mistakes show up every single time. A floating staircase with no railing, a microwave bolted above the stove that's dead by year 3, a shower with no door that floods the bathroom floor every single morning. One of these is being actively recommended by interior designers right now in nearly every new build kitchen in the country. It's the one I see homeowners quietly regret the fastest, and almost nobody talks about it. Here are the 10 home features you are going to regret, starting with the one everyone gets wrong first. We're going from 10 down to 1. The further down we go, the more expensive it gets. You'll want to stay for number 1.
Number 10. TV over the fireplace. I understand why people do this. The fireplace already looks like the natural center of the room, so when you can't figure out where else to put the TV, stacking it on top feels obvious. It's the path of least resistance, and showrooms display it this way for exactly that reason. But mounting a TV above a fireplace means watching at a 15 to 20 degree upward angle, the same strain as the front row of a movie theater. Most people report neck stiffness within 6 months on anything longer than a 90-minute movie. And visually, 2 competing focal points on one wall means the room never settles. Your eye doesn't know where to land. I worked on a remodel where the previous owners had mounted a 65-inch TV directly above a wood-burning fireplace. The heat voided the warranty within 14 months, costing $1,100 to replace. They never used the fireplace again. It became furniture. If you have wall space, move the TV beside the fireplace or onto a perpendicular wall and orient seating toward whichever one you actually use. A pull-down or articulating mount that brings the screen to eye level costs $150 to $400 and is the only acceptable compromise if your layout truly leaves no other option. But the next one isn't about comfort. It's about whether you make it down the stairs safely.
Number 9. Floating staircases with no railing. I get the appeal completely. A floating staircase reads as architecture, not just a way upstairs. It lets light pass through the whole stairwell, and in photos, it looks like something out of a design magazine. But in most jurisdictions, an open staircase without a railing or balustrade fails code outright. And even where it somehow passes inspection on a technicality, think about who actually uses those stairs daily. Kids running up and down, a parent visiting who's unsteady on their feet. One misstep with nothing to grab is how a renovation turns into an ER visit.
You don't think about a railing until the one night you need it, and by then, it's too late to install one. I worked with a client who'd had a herniated disc and tried using her open tread floating staircase during recovery. She sat down and went up and down on her hands for 2 weeks because there was nothing to hold on to. She ended up spending $3,200 retrofitting a glass railing system just so she could walk down her own stairs standing up. You don't have to give up the look. A glass balustrade keeps almost all of the open, airy feeling intact, and a minimalist cable or wire railing system practically disappears visually from a few feet away. Either runs $2,000 to $5,000 installed, the difference between a feature and a liability. That brings us to a feature that looks clean on day 1 and disgusting by day 30.
Number 8. Square and rectangular sinks. I understand the appeal here too. Sharp lines read as modern and expensive, and a square sink photographs beautifully against stone. It's an easy way to upgrade the feel of a kitchen without touching the cabinets. But traditional sinks have a curved, sloped basin for a reason. Everything drains toward the center on its own. Most square and rectangular basins don't have enough slope to do that, so water pools in the corners and food scraps just sit there until you scrub them out by hand. If the interior corners are a sharp 90 degrees instead of gently rounded,
grime builds up in that seam and becomes nearly impossible to fully clean. I had a client with a sharp-cornered fireclay farmhouse sink who called within 4 months asking if it was defective. It wasn't. It had 0 drainage slope, and she was hand-drying the basin after every use just to stop water spots staining the finish. If you like the square look, choose a basin with rounded interior corners and confirm a real slope toward the drain before buying. Ask the manufacturer for the drainage spec directly. Same modern aesthetic, none of the daily scrubbing. A quality stainless or fireclay sink with rounded interior corners and a documented 1 to 2 degree drain slope runs about $250 to $600 and solves this completely. I'll link a few solid options in the description. We're getting into the ones that cost real money now. Number 7. Barn doors and hollow core doors. Barn doors had a moment, and I understand why. They feel rustic and architectural, they save floor space with no swing radius, and they're a quick visual upgrade in an open concept home. But a barn door slides in front of the opening, instead of sealing into a frame. No gasket, no real seal anywhere around the edges. Sound travels straight through. Light leaks around the sides. Put one on a bathroom, and you've effectively eliminated privacy for everyone in the house. A door that doesn't actually close isn't a door. It's a suggestion. I worked on a primary bedroom conversion where the homeowners put a barn door on the ensuite bathroom. Within a month, they were asking how to retrofit a real swinging door because every sound and smell was audible in the bedroom. The retrofit, including reframing the opening, cost $1,800. While we're on doors, knock on your bedroom door right now. If it sounds hollow, that's because it is. Hollow core doors are 2 thin fiberboard sheets wrapped around a cardboard honeycomb. They're standard in new builds because they're cheap, but they offer almost no sound or temperature insulation, and that's a real quality of life problem in a bedroom or home office. Barn doors genuinely work for pantries, closets, or dividing open spaces where privacy isn't the point. Just match the style to your architecture. For anywhere privacy matters, a solid core door with an engineered wood core and real veneer costs $120 to $300 installed, versus $40 to $80 for hollow core, and blocks both sound and heat noticeably better. What comes next looks completely fine when it goes in. That's exactly what makes it so expensive. Number 6. Doorless showers. I get why these are everywhere right now. They look incredible in 5-star hotels and in every bathroom renovation account on social media. Clean lines, no glass to squeegee, total open feeling. But a hotel bathroom is cleaned by staff every single day, and the floor slope and waterproofing are engineered to a tolerance most residential bathrooms never get. Without a door or screen to contain water, any mistake in that slope becomes obvious fast. Standing puddles, water creeping onto the bathroom floor, and sometimes moisture working into the subfloor over months. I worked on a small, square, doorless shower where the contractor didn't grade the floor correctly. Within 8 months, water was seeping under the vanity baseboard, and we found early-stage mold when we pulled it apart. The repair, including replacing damaged subfloor, ran just over $4,000. Doorless showers also let heat escape. You'll feel it immediately in a colder climate. A heating unit to compensate runs $300 to $800 installed, plus the ongoing energy cost every winter. A doorless shower can work, but only in a larger rectangular bathroom with a fixed glass screen separating the wet zone. In a smaller or square footprint, a frameless glass door or even a simple shower curtain gives you a far better daily experience and is far easier to keep watertight. Number 5 on this list isn't really about a product. It's about a decision most people make before they even start decorating. Stay with me. Number 5. Open shelving in the kitchen. I understand the appeal. Open shelves feel light and minimal, and they photograph beautifully when styled with 3 matching ceramic bowls and a plant. But a shelf in a living room gets arranged once, and mostly stays that way. A shelf in a kitchen gets touched 5 or 6 times a day, and within a few weeks, it stops looking curated and starts looking cluttered. Dust mixes with airborne grease from cooking, and you end up wiping everything down weekly just to keep it presentable. The kitchens you see online with gorgeous open shelving almost always have a second hidden bank of full cabinets doing the real storage work. You're only seeing 3 curated items because 40 other items are tucked out of frame. I worked with a homeowner who ripped out her upper cabinets for open shelving with no other storage to fall back on. Within 2 months, she was storing cereal boxes and spice jars in plain view and told me she felt embarrassed every time someone walked into her kitchen. If you want the open look, keep it purely decorative and away from the cooking zone, with everyday items in closed cabinets. Glass front cabinets are the better middle ground. Visual openness without dust and grease on your dishes. A glass front cabinet upgrade with a frosted or fluted insert, something that hides contents while still reading is open, typically adds $80 to $150 per cabinet door over a solid front. It's a small cost for a daily difference. Number 4 is the one almost every renovation show convinces you to do, and almost nobody tells you what it costs you in storage. Number 4. Knocking down walls for open concept. Open concept looks incredible, and for the right household, it genuinely works. It's airy, it feels bigger, and it's the most requested renovation on television for a reason. But open concept has become the default nobody questions anymore. Someone's frying food in the kitchen while you're on a work call 10 feet away with 0 sound separation. And there's a cost almost nobody factors in. Every wall you remove was also storage. Cabinets, shelving, and built-ins disappear with it. And that lost storage often resurfaces as clutter in the open space you just paid to create. I worked on a 1960s ranch where the owners removed the wall between kitchen and living room to open things up. 18 months later, they called for help. They'd lost an entire wall of pantry storage and were stacking small appliances on the counter permanently. They spent $6,000 on a custom island with built-in storage just to recover what they demolished. If you go open concept, keep at least one enclosed room that isn't a bedroom. A den, a study, a reading nook, somewhere to close a door and decompress. For light without losing separation, glass doors let light through while blocking sound and smell. And a wood-framed glass partition, the kind you see in Parisian apartments, adds real character while still dividing the space. These typically run $1,500 to $4,000 depending on size, a fraction of a full open concept demolition and rebuild. Number 3 is the one I get asked about constantly because it sounds genuinely useful, right up until you actually live with it. Number 3, pot fillers. I get the logic completely. Filling a heavy stock pot at the stove instead of carrying it full from the sink sounds like a real upgrade if you cook a lot. But you still have to carry that same full pot back to the sink to drain it, so you've only solved half the inconvenience. And the bigger issue is what's behind the wall. The plumbing runs directly behind your backsplash, so if there's ever a leak or joint failure years down the line, you're tearing out tile just to access it. I've talked to dozens of homeowners with a pot filler installed, and most of them say the same thing. They used it twice and then forgot it existed. One client spent close to $900 having hers installed during a kitchen remodel. 2 years later, a slow leak behind the backsplash went undetected for weeks, and the repair, replacing 6 tiles and the wall behind them, cost her $1,400. She wished she'd just kept walking the 3 steps to the sink. If you do genuinely heavy stockpot cooking, the convenience is real, but weigh it against the plumbing risk first. The one place a dedicated water line consistently earns its cost is a coffee or beverage bar, where the use case is specific and the payoff is daily, not occasional. Number 2 will surprise you. It works perfectly.
It just works against you in a way most homeowners never see coming.
Number 2. Over-the-range microwaves. I understand why builders love these. An over-the-range microwave does 2 jobs in one footprint, heating food and doubling as your range hood, which saves cabinet space and installation cost. Efficient on paper. But it does both jobs poorly. A dedicated range hood is engineered to pull smoke, steam, and grease up and out of the kitchen. The fan in an over-the-range microwave is a fraction of the power, and many units don't vent outside at all. They just recirculate, blowing smoke and grease right back into your kitchen. Over time, that builds a visible film of grease on your cabinets and walls. I worked on a kitchen refresh where the cabinets above the stove had a permanent yellow-brown grease film baked into the finish after 6 years with a recirculating microwave. No degreaser fully removed it. Repainting added $1,200 to a project meant to be a simple appliance swap. There's also a second issue. The electronics sit directly above your most heat and moisture-intensive appliance. It's common for them to fail within 2 to 5 years, far shorter than a standalone microwave, and far shorter than a standalone range hood, which easily lasts 10 to 15 years. A standalone range hood, paired with a countertop or built-in microwave elsewhere, costs $300 to $900 more upfront, depending on the model. But it ventilates properly, lasts substantially longer, and is the fastest way to make a kitchen stop looking like a builder-grade rental. Now we're at number 1. This is the one I told you about at the start, the one being actively recommended in almost every new build kitchen right now, and the one I see homeowners regret the fastest, even though most of them don't realize it for years. Number 1. Cabinet doors instead of drawers. I understand exactly why this happens. Almost every new build kitchen comes with base cabinet doors instead of drawers because doors are cheaper to manufacture and install, and most buyers never think to question the builder's default. It's the single most overlooked decision in an entire kitchen, which is exactly why I opened this video with it. But here's the real problem, and you'll feel it almost every day for as long as you live in that kitchen. A standard base cabinet is roughly 24 inches, about 60 centimeters deep. With a door, you're crouching down and reaching your full arm into that entire depth every time you want something near the back. Anything back there is genuinely hard to see and hard to reach without pulling 3 other things out first. It's not a one-time inconvenience. It's a daily, physical cost that compounds for years on your knees and your lower back every single time you cook. This is the one nobody complains about loudly because it doesn't fail or break. It just quietly costs you a few seconds and a little strain thousands of times for as long as you own them. I worked with a couple in their 60s on a full kitchen renovation, and the husband had a bad knee from an old injury. He told me crouching to dig through the base cabinets for his cast iron pan was the most physically uncomfortable part of his day, every day for the 11 years they'd lived in that kitchen. When we rebuilt it, we converted every base cabinet to deep, full extension drawers. He called it the best money he'd ever spent on the house, and it cost less than most people assume. Drawers let the entire contents come to you when you pull them open. No crouching, no digging. Tall, deep drawers are excellent for stand mixers, large pots, and baking sheets, the exact items that normally get buried at the back of a door cabinet. Doors still make sense for tall pantry cabinets and under the sink, and they're meaningfully cheaper on a tight budget. But converting base cabinets to drawers typically adds only $30 to $60 per cabinet over doors, and it's without question the best return on comfort of anything on this entire list. A quality soft close full extension drawer slide system rated for at least 100 pounds and a true full extension pull costs about $25 to $45 per drawer and transforms how a kitchen actually feels to use. I'll link some solid options in the description. If you've already got a few of these in your home, don't panic. Most of them are fixable. Some are a quick weekend fix. Some just mean making a smarter call on your next decision instead of trying to undo the last one. The homes that actually hold up are designed around how you really live, not around what looked good in a showroom, not around what a contractor suggested because it was the easiest thing to install, and not around a trend that felt fresh for 18 months and dated itself by year 3. Which of these 10 do you already have in your home? And which one are you tackling first? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you want to keep making design decisions that hold up, instead of ones you'll regret in 3 years, subscribe. There's a lot more of this coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.